Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Liquidity Lounge, folks. Today, we're diving deep into the exciting world of X Spaces with Eric from clubhub and Derek from comcom agency. I will intro you a little bit later. We're gonna bridging the gap between founders and the community today, and I'm your host, Bully, as always, and I'm absolutely buzzing to be back with you all today. Now, let's face it, the world of X spaces is vast, exciting, and sometimes confusing landscape, and we're talking and we're gonna talk about it today. Whether you're a seasoned explorer or just stepping foot on this cosmic frontier, there's something for everyone here. So, guys, very welcome. Thank you for joining me today, Eric and Derek. Just maybe you can give a little bit intro about you, yourself, your background, and your projects which you're presenting today. How are you doing, guys, by the way? Eric, let's start with you.
I'm doing great. Thanks, Polly, for having me on. And I don't mean to jump in front of Derek, but I'll go if I may. What's up, Derek? How you doing, man? Thanks for having me, Polly.
Thanks for joining. Derek, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me as a speaker on this X Space.
So yeah, actually, I'm trying to host podcasts like about regulations, landscape, or some GameFi or marketing strategies. But I understand that today the hot topic is spaces. But let's be real. Navigating these six spaces isn't always a smooth ride, and you've got your tech challenges, your engagement hurdles, and sometimes it feels like you're floating in the void, unsure on how to connect with your audience. And there where we come in. And this podcast is your guide to conquering the X space galaxy, a beacon in the digital darkness. So, yeah, in today's episode, we're going to dive deep into this topic, and let's talk more about how we can leverage X to raise capital and attract investors, maybe for now. But yeah, can you guys tell me a little bit more about your companies?
Sure, I'll start since I'm already here. So comcom started about 6 years ago when I first got into Web3 full time. I started off as the head of community relations for Bloom Protocol, which seems to be still kicking around, but I no longer work with them. I was with them for about 2.5 years, and opportunities just kept presenting themselves to help other projects with their communities, start offering professional moderation services, which was really important to a lot of people I spoke to, especially leading up to token sales. That's one way I got in with the graph uh, over 2.5 or 3 years ago now, about 2 months before their token sale. And those are the kind of the boom times, especially if you've done a good job marketing before then, where you need people that you can rely on and who are going to do the right thing and are going to say the right things at the right times and not put you in unnecessary legal trouble or create unnecessary public relations issues and things like that. You need people who are going to stay on script a lot of the time, with a little bit of freedom to opine for themselves and just make clear like when they're talking for themselves and when they're talking on behalf of the team or the project. And yeah, so anyway, things have kind of snowballed since 2018, and we offer professional community moderation, community management, and even outsourced tech support services for a few different projects today. And yeah, and I love what we do. It's been a heck of a ride.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Thank you, Derek, for insightful intro. I would like to hear more about your expertise. Actually, sounds pretty intriguing. And Eric, can you reveal something more about your community as well?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody. I'm Eric with Web3M. We started building in Web3 about 4 years ago. We started off as a decentralized ad network. And just like Derek said, this a lot of times, whenever you're in development, and growing in the space, you change and you adapt and you innovate as you go, and that's kind of how we evolved into who we are today. Is we launched a platform called the Collab Hub, and the Collab Hub gives you the ability to network with other companies, create partnerships, collaborations with other companies really easily by creating a free account, reaching out to other companies within our network on the platform. And also, one of the main purposes of the platform is to be able to join Twitter Spaces, just like this one today, and choose from a list of Twitter Spaces that you can pick from, and whether it be, whether it fits your niche, of the topic, the date and time. And then what happens is after you choose that, we onboard you to the space, and that way you can meet other companies real time, along with providing your community with a voice behind who you are, what you do, and that's really what Twitter Spaces is all about. And we like empowering companies to organically grow through Twitter Spaces and many other fashions through the Collab Hub.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for this intro. And actually, listeners, all my new Liquidity Lounge episodes you'll see on Club Hub website. So yeah, stay tuned to our updates, and maybe you can even apply for speaking with us. Great. But guys, I'm here to bombard you with interesting questions here. And the first that come to my mind is, how can X space be used to raise capital or attract investors? Because this is kind of hot one, and we all here to attract money. As you wanna, if you are a startup, it's necessary to communicate with investors. And how do you think how X spaces can be used for it? Derek, Eric, who's first? Right.
I'll let Eric go first. I know that I'm one of these people who's better when I'm iterating on top of what somebody else is saying, so I'm gonna let him go first.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to fill in some information here. So, whenever it comes to X Spaces is great for many different things, but the primary things that X Spaces contributes to a company and raising capital is your reputation, right? So, whenever a company wants to raise capital, the best way to get in front of investors is to promote yourself in a live fashion, because it's very unscripted. I mean, Paulie today did a magnificent job with outlining like the organization and what we're going to talk about. But the main focus is the unfiltered way that companies can get in front of the community and provide a great reputation and really know the voice behind the company. Because without you knowing the voice behind the company, you're not going to be as warm to want to invest in their company, right? So the reputation is everything, and providing somebody with a way for you to communicate and engage with your community live is just absolutely, it's so valuable to be able to raise capital for your startup or whatever you're doing.
Correct. Derek, continue, please.
Yeah, on top of that, obviously you're going to expose yourself to people who you're not already familiar with. I'm looking through the list of listeners here. I don't know anybody. So, for me, that's a good thing. I'm putting my voice and my thoughts in front of or into the ears of people who haven't heard of me before, and obviously I'm getting a chance to put some thoughts down and maybe blow some people away if I say something insightful enough. Um, Credibility, definitely authenticity. Showing the things are unscripted. If I was reading from a script, this would be a lot smoother, for example. And otherwise, if you go about it right, I think having a chance to really uh, state your vision, over and over again in different venues and really hone it. Basically pitching politely or subtly or, really overtly if that's what the space is for or the podcast. And just having a chance to iterate on what you're saying and, get down to that really good elevator pitch and then the longer version as well. And, yeah, and just make it the best it can be. so that you're presenting your best self and your company's vision and putting yourself in that best position for maybe getting another opportunity to speak elsewhere or actually raising some funds.
I want to get in here real quick. The spaces there is so much value, and for anybody that wants to learn, about the new innovations and what's coming out, there are some of the most talented people on earth that join spaces every single day. And I'm not going to name any names, but you can do your due diligence yourself and look at like what's trending on the side of Twitter, and just start joining these spaces and learning from these people, because these people come from a massive background of professionalism and major connections, and you can interact with these people firsthand on these spaces, and that's what makes this so incredibly valuable between company and consumer.
Yeah, correct. I agree with you guys on 100%. But founders, remember, be patient, because raising capital takes time and effort, and continue refining your pitch, building relationships, improving the value of your project within the X space is a good strategy. But you shouldn't expect like millions in sales after the first space you've participated in. Of course not. It's always about consistency and bringing value to the table. So yeah, but actually I want to touch another hot topic. How can we balance the need for authenticity with the need to create compelling content on X spaces? Like, we always can talk shit, but what about authenticity? I wanna make more valuable, more important content for everyone. I want to educate, I want to up higher our level of knowledge there, and among all Web3 entrepreneurs. So yeah, how do you think, guys, authenticity versus compelling content dilemma? What can you
Well,
say?
yeah. So I mean, you shared a list of questions ahead of time, right? Which gives everybody a chance to think about the things they want to say. So there's that chance for you to think about, like, okay, here are some points I want to make. Here are maybe some pithy statements I want to squeeze in there. But ultimately, I have no idea what Eric was going to say, before we got started here. Like I said, this isn't scripted. So as much as just like any interview you've probably ever seen on any podcast or any TV show, yeah, we know the topics ahead of time. That's standard. But at the same time, I'm shooting from the cuff, or shooting from the hip, sorry. And we're going back and forth with Eric, and somebody from Mids Capitals just joined here now, and maybe they'll have something to say. And so you get an opportunity to kind of riff off each other, and maybe even disagree with each other, and have a debate about that. And and kind of get the best, I think, of what some late night talk shows have done over the years, where there's a co-host, like Andy for Conan O'Brien, who jumps in every once in a while and just makes things funny, or what's his face, Graham Norton on British late night TV, where yeah, he'll start with one person and then he brings out a second guest and a third guest and a fourth guest, and the guests start interacting with each other, and those are some of the best moments. Who's going to be up there with you. You could be Tom Cruise and John Cena, and let's add a British person here because it's a British TV show. Let's add Emily Blunt, but we don't know what they're going to say. So they get to be themselves. Hopefully it's funny or insightful or what have you. And it's still authentic at the same time because they're interacting with each other.
Interesting point of view. Great, Eric. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with Derek. And I want to reflect on the idea that, this is fully transparent. Web3 gives the community the ability to interact with these companies firsthand. Can you think of, I mean, like, I would say 99% of people have don't participate in like in investor calls, right, through Web
Yeah.
2 companies. Like, has
Shareholder
Amazon
meetings.
ever allowed, like a regular investor that's invested, say $5,000 worth of stock join their calls? Yes, they may have calls, but it's not as warm of an atmosphere to allow the community to be a part of their ecosystem and their decisions. This is not about the community providing the decisions. Yes, there's DAOs. Yes, there's different ways for the community to be involved, but the basis is it's a very open atmosphere for the community to see and understand what the company is about and to learn about them and their authenticity. Because you don't know who's behind the veil. You don't know who's making all decisions, and you really get firsthand experience with these people on Twitter Spaces, and that's what makes it so incredibly valuable for people that want to learn about these companies, especially in a new environment, in a new ecosystem as Web3 is. It's so new, and it gives people the ability to learn from the people that are building and not like have to wait forever, or be in the dark the entire time. So I think that's one of the major things that it contributes to in terms of clarity and authenticity of who's behind the company.
Yeah, I mean, not every space is unmoderated, or not everybody gets a chance to necessarily just jump up on stage and speak. But the tweets come in, and voicemails come in, and things like that, and that's what's one thing X, formerly known as Twitter, has given us for a long time, is just direct connections with brands, founders, other like-minded individuals to yourself. And one of the reasons why I'm still here and why I still really like using the platform.
So, um, how to strike the balance? Okay, I think it's about being your true self, but also being intentional about how you present yourself online, because this includes crafting a catchy bio, using a profile picture that represents you well, and engaging in thoughtful conversations. Authenticity is your foundation for sure. It's the bedrock of trust. People want to connect with genuine individuals, not polished robots. So be yourself, guys. Share your experiences, insights, and passions. This will resonate with people who have similar interests and create a stronger, more loyal community. And compelling content is like your design or decor or makeup, call it wherever. It's what grabs attention, sparks conversations, and leaves a lasting impression. So think about what makes your content unique. Is it your humor, or your expertise, your storytelling ability, or I don't know, play with the formats like videos, polls, threads to keep things engaging. I chose spaces. I chose speaking in real time. So maybe you are better in something else. Try, experience something new. So actually, but the catch is you can't sacrifice authenticity for the sake of going viral. People can spot fakeness a mile away. It's backfire. Instead, infuse your content with your genuine self while striving for quality, originality, and relevance. Alrighty. I have another one question. Yeah. What do you want to say, Eric?
Yeah, I just you had said something about you can create a compelling story behind the scenes for people to want to be a part of, but whenever you see a company that is dedicating their time to going live and showing who they are, instead of trying to promote the hype and not really being present. I think that's a really good filter for consumers to understand the difference between a company that is genuinely interested in providing a value to their community, opposed to a company that's just wanting to promote value for themselves. So something to keep in mind for all the people listening is Twitter Spaces is a great filter to determine a awesome company and just a company that just wants to like get by, basically.
For sure. Because I usually listen X Spaces whenever where I am, because like it can be in a restaurant, while I'm driving and so on. But still, sometimes I get bored from just Q&A. What do you think? What are some interactive activities you're seeing work well in X Spaces? Because it can be live polls and quizzes. It can be virtual tools and field trips. It can be maybe creating writing contests or live demonstration and experiments. What do you think, guys? Derek, you go first.
Well, you kind of just took all my answers. um,
I'm a devil.
Yeah, no, I mean, ultimately, yeah, like some interaction with the audience. I do like when people, when randoms are allowed to come up and ask questions and things like that. Obviously that adds a little bit of trepidation because they might go off the rails, depending on what's going on. But I think that's preferable over. Um, uh, a really stale back and forth, like you said. Q&A is great, and that's a good way to get started, but um, it's better when listeners have something to do other than listen. So yes, a live poll, it could be a quiz, it could be some sort of and some sort of incentive there obviously drives a lot of listenership, at least not necessarily a lot of engagement, but you can certainly boost the numbers there with reward for asking a good question or something like that. Otherwise, I mean, for me, I think it's just really important to keep things dynamic. People who are speakers who have a really monotone voice, don't have a lot of emotion to the way they speak, not a lot of variation, or not a lot of variation. I think they lose me, at least. And so, sorry, everything okay?
Yeah, everything okay. Not they lose you. I just everyone mute right now. Sometimes
Yeah.
X spacing are irritating. So please, Elon Musk, can you do something with it? Can you fix glitches somehow? It's annoying. Sorry, yeah,
um,
continue.
no, that's okay. No, things happen. Um, anyway, I think it's just important to remember that you're speaking to an audience. You're speaking to an audience who has a lot of choice on what to do with their time. They are here to listen to you, hopefully, say something smart, and then they'll take away something important from it. But and therefore, you need to be exciting and engaging. For me, that's the really big thing that either draws me to a space or pushes me away is boredom. Ultimately, boredom with the speakers, typically.
Yeah, true, true. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, no one likes a boring speaker, that just kind of goes along. But it's fine, no big deal. That's funny that Paulie did you just do that on purpose? Did you just mute him right whenever he said that a second ago? I think you did.
No, 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 no. Of course
Paulie, you
not. And I'm
savage.
not smiling right now. Of course I'm not. Of course I'm not.
Okay, but back to the topic. Let me go back. Let me make sure I have the question here.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
can
the
repeat it
activities,
if you want.
the
Like yeah,
the interactive activities. So I've seen many different structures of how companies, provide the community with a way to earn, while they learn, kind of thing, or earn why they participate. And it's through Zly Quest, through different quests. You could put questions down in the comments. The best question will win 50 USDT. I've seen where you take a screenshot and you upload it to Zly, where you show your participation. I've seen different platforms. There's a new platform that I'm talking to. They're called Drip Reward, and they have an integration now where they can monitor the listeners of who's listening, who's like interacting and dropping emojis and doing all these things, and they automatically start earning rewards based off of their participation within the spaces that is connected to their platform. So there's really really cool ways that you can create a way for the community to earn while they participate in your spaces, and along with that also incentivizing them to take action after the space to be a part of your community and do things to engage and have fun, because really Twitter Spaces is about having fun and joining something that you enjoy. It's not joining something just to earn and and to benefit from. Yes, that's what it is for, but primarily fun, benefit, learning, and being a part of something that you truly enjoy for yourself.
For sure. Sometimes I will open live coding sessions and it's gonna be silence for several hours, and just like I hope so. And yeah,
I mean, why not? I've
feel like
I've
this.
toyed with I've toyed with the idea of literally just doing like office hours of like, you want to see what I do on a daily basis? Here you go.
Yeah,
There's really not that
for
much to
sure.
hide. I haven't done it yet. I haven't worked up the cojones to do it yet, but um, I might.
Not a bad
Yeah,
idea. That's a great idea. A lot of people. Oh, sorry, Paulie. I didn't mean to jump in, but that was
no
interesting what you
worries.
just said. Is so many people want to know what it's like to work in Web3. So I think that would be an awesome introduction for people that are interested, because there are so many different things. I mean, I don't know what you guys do, but my day to day operations are just like everywhere. Like I'm doing everything, and literally, like just like everybody says, no one sleeps in Web3, and it's true. No one sleeps. And I like it personally. I'm not sure if you guys like it, but it's just something that you adapt to. And I'd really be interested to see what your workflow is like, Derek.
Oh man. So for the first 3.5 years, 2.5 years, I didn't take a vacation. It was 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. On my phone, on my laptop. My kids hated it. My ex-wife hated it, but it paid the bills, and it really paid off in the end. And then I rented half of a private island and took a week off, and that was amazing. So I kind of reset things after that. But my workflow: get up in the morning and look at my phone, and I look for fires, virtual fires, thankfully, that I need to put out, whether it's at one client or another. I just kind of get caught up, take 5-10 minutes to do that. And then as long as everything's okay, I can get up, depending on the day, get my kids ready for school, or just have a nice relaxing breakfast and brush my teeth, etc., and then sit down at the laptop. If it's kids first, get the kids off to make lunches, get the kids off to school, get home, have a fairly quick breakfast, and then get to it. Check, I don't know, the 7 or 8 different Discord communities, a bunch of different Telegram groups, go through my email, make sure there's nothing important in there, and then like actually do like deep work, or jump into meetings depending on the day. Mondays and Wednesdays I've got meetings in the morning. Tuesdays, Thursdays I don't. I block my time off so that that doesn't happen, and I can do stuff like this instead. Fridays depends. People can book with meetings with me on Fridays, but I think most people don't want to meet on Fridays, so it doesn't happen very often. But ultimately, it comes down to making sure things are running, making sure things are running well, um, dealing with the occasional crisis here and there, writing communications for that, whether it's a blog or X posts, Facebook, etc., or all of the above. And then really, depending on the client and depending on the day, being able to really think about strategy, or working on my side hustle, which is actually building up our own protocol on one of our clients' blockchains. So my day is really random. It's definitely all over the place. Time spent in Asana, Discord, Telegram, WhatsApp, Signal, X, Facebook, Reddit. I'm all over the place. I have EDD, so that works. Like, it's actually kind of nice. I also work on the Pomodoro method, so I set a 25-minute timer. I work my butt off for those 25 minutes. I take a little break and then back at it for another 25 minutes. And I found that really, really works for me. And so I spend 25 minutes doing one thing, only going through Discord, for example, only going through Telegram. and ideally a single client at a time for those 25 minutes. So it's something I continue to iterate on, but yeah, I have a ridiculous number of communications applications, basically, chat groups or various chat platforms for the most part, and that's where I spend a lot of my time. What about yours?
Jeez, you better don't ask because I do not sleep. I don't know. Sometimes I do not sleep for 96 hours and just on calls or on conferences or some kind of after parties. But right now I'm back to Moscow from the Dubai events. Soon gonna be in Vietnam though in June, in the first week of June. And well, what can I say? I don't know how to sustain mental health in this Web3 flow, but I like it though because I am suffering from hyperactivity. But in Web3, it's kind of the perfect place for my disorder. And because I can be online 24/7 and earn money on it, on money, on my brain damaged. So yeah, it's okay. But actually, I want to talk more about some ways how we can ensure that content remains fresh and engaging over the time. Because I already hosted 28 personal Liquidity Lounge podcasts, and some of I'm trying to be host on different kind of projects, and I'm run out of my inspiration actually. How to sustain this inspiration? How to consume more energy? How to stay fresh and engage people all over the time? Because I think that I will die in fucking 7 years if I'm gonna continue doing spaces 2 times a week just for Liquidity Lounge. Yeah. So, what do you think, guys?
I'll
What
let you go,
are your
Eric.
methods?
Go ahead.
Sure. Um, so consistency is everything. We know that. But creating a consistent behavior that doesn't, encompass, all of your time. You need to, just like Derek was saying, organizing, certain time frames in your schedule, whether it be on Google Calendar, making sure that you allot 1 hour, per week to structure the spaces, and then 2 hours per week, 1 hour for each day for the space itself. Polly, did you?
One, yeah. I just want to give a quick, quick thought. I'm trying to set up those times when you do not work, but then someone in Calendly book you at this time, and you're like, oh fuck, I thought I'm gonna have a rest a little, but okay, I'm gonna talk more about startups and venture and fundraising. Okay, yeah, sure, no problem at all. Yeah, but guys, of course, it's about balance, and it's only my problems that like hyperactive kid work all the time. But still,
Sure.
I want to
And
know more about content, but maybe it's so connected with our inner selves to stay fresh and engaging over the time.
So for me, like I said, I did work for a stupid amount of time without taking a single vacation, and ever since then, I've not allowed that to happen. So my weekends are pretty sacred, between wanting to spend time with my girlfriend or my children. Um, I try to stay off my phone as much as possible, and I rarely touch my laptop these days. It's taken 6 years to get to this point. And some fairly persistent reminders from my girlfriend, who I've been with for a little bit over a year now, that like it's 8 p.m. or it's Saturday morning. Let's spend this time together because we're both single parents, and uh, the kids are going to be around later or whatever. Like this is our time together. That's really helped. And ultimately, I do like a lot of short road trips. This weekend, we're going away. We're going away where I'm not going to have Wi-Fi. there will probably be cell phone signal, data available, but I'm going to do my best not to use it. And and I've got her there to back me up of like, yeah, this is our time now. um, when I've taken trips to Paris, Denver, etc., for the various conferences, um, for I'm the type of person where IRL events actually energizes me. um, so it's actually really good for me to get out of the house, go for a walk, go to conferences and stuff, and actually meet people like Polly, like Eric, in person. That I end up coming home being feeling re-energized again, and reminding myself of why I love this industry and the tech we're building and the opportunities that it's offering people all over the world. And so that's really really good for me. But like you said, you said you have time on your calendar that Polly gets booked. I use cal.com, which is similar to Calendly and a bunch of other, VimCal, stuff like that. These are the dates you can book me. These are the times you can book me. 8 p.m. on a Friday or even 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, you can't book me for those times. So, nobody has access to my Google Calendar or Fastmail calendar and stuff like that. I have set up my life in such a way that Tuesdays and Thursdays, I don't have meetings unless you talk to me directly and I agree to have a meeting with you. And if I do on one of those days, it's got to be important enough for us to meet on one of those days that otherwise I'm doing deep work, or I'm taking care of personal errands too. Take my car to the shop, go to a dentist appointment, whatever. Those are my days to do that because I know I'm not going to have meetings. And that way I know I'm not going to have somebody in the middle of my dentist appointment trying to call me, or trying to, we're not hopping on Google Meet, things like that, unless it's an emergency. Um, yeah, ultimately, you really gotta take some control of your calendar, block off times consistently, and remember that you need those times to do your own work, to think for yourself. You need your evenings to unwind, drink some tea, read a book, go out clubbing, whatever works for you, go mountain climbing or what have you. Um, and I think something people have been discovering across Web3 is actually getting away from the computer and doing something with your hands, gardening, woodworking, whatever, renovations on your house is actually really cathartic, and I think makes you or leaves you feeling like, wow, I really did something with my hands that I can like see and touch, and it's not just something on a web page. So that was really long winded, but ultimately, I think it's important for everybody in this industry to make sure they take control over their time and feel at the end of the day like they're using their time is being well spent.
Yes, Eric.
Yes. In terms of organization of your work, that sounds exactly how I do things. Um, but whenever it comes to like content creation and the consistency and rolling it out without your brain fizzling out because you're trying to be creative, you're trying to be perfect, you're trying to create something that's engaging and fun for people to want to join you, right? And that's the goal of creating these spaces and creating content every week, whether it be 2 times a week, 3 times a week, or even once a week. You can start off just once a week, and it's all about creating an organization of flow so that you're not reliant on trying to recreate something every single week. You've got it narrowed down to 1 time a week or 2 times a week, and you continue with that flow. But the way that you pick the topics and the way that you roll out the content is you figure out what you like first, what you like, or better yet, what your specialty is, what your niche is. So, for example, for us, we're in marketing. We our niche is talking with any kind of company. So that's a very broad spectrum. That's not a good example. But just for example, if I was a gaming company, you would want to just talk about gaming. So each week you would just outline just different aspects of gaming, and a great way to come up with those different aspects is just to ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a great tool to kind of give you a little bit of help in trying to figure out the best ways to roll out the content. and that'll take out a lot of the pressure off. That'll take off a lot of pressure for yourself whenever you can just ask and say, hey, what are the best topics for gaming in this sector, play to earn sector, and it'll just give you like 5 topics or 10 topics, and you can choose from those 10 topics to feature one of them for that week. And you can just do that every single week, and it's very, very easy and sustainable in that manner, as long as you know a target and a direction of your content.
Sure. So, to sum up all the thoughts, not all, but from the past several questions, because I think we kind of um, get dizzy with all of this. So because it is essential to take breaks and recharge. Yeah, it's easy to burn out if you're constantly charging out content. Give yourself time to relax and come back with renewed energy and fresh ideas, for sure. Listen to your audience, pay attention to the feedback they give you, both positive and negative. This helps you tailor your content to their interests and needs. And don't be afraid of experiment. Try out new tools, features, and even topics to see what resonates with your audience as well. I try different ones, and sometimes it is 4K listeners, sometimes it is 50 listeners, but it's okay, and I got it. Then I can understand what is good and what is bad for my audience. Don't be afraid to get personal. Share your own experiences and struggles with your audience. It shows that you're a real person, not just a talking head. And I think that you should think beyond the textbook, connect the science to current events, pop culture, or even everyday life. And you also can embrace the what if factor. Encourage your audience to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and explore new ideas. This keeps the conversation lively and engaging. I try to um, be engaged with my audience through Twitter, and you always can ask any questions on DM and Telegram, and you can look through the link tree. You always can leave comments. I will try to answer to each of it. And yeah, I think that keeping your X spaces fresh and engaging is an ongoing process. It's about being adaptable, creative, and always learning. Just like a garden, it takes time, attention, and a little bit of magic to make it thrive. But yeah, I want to ask one more question. I think. Um, because we ran out of time otherwise. Um, Eric and Derek, what do you think? What are your predictions for the future of X spaces and their own Web3 ecosystem?
I'll start it, I suppose. Um, for the future of spaces, definitely see more monetization for companies that are wanting to present, their brands, create content on X. I see a larger opportunity for consumers to be a part of larger innovations coming to Web3 and Web2 as well. I'm not really a part of the Web2 world, but in terms of Web3, opportunities and understanding, what's going on in the space are only going to get more abundant as more companies build and as Web3 becomes more of a mainstream outlook. In terms of like the world, and people. So I think that space is going to be a large factor in how companies roll out, their innovations and their tools and their resources.
Derek, what do you think? What about the future of X spaces?
Yeah, I mean, I continue to see it as a valuable tool. We literally have hundreds of people listening here. I've seen others where literally thousands of people are listening, and as long as there are people using the platform and people are continue to create compelling content and experiences, people will be willing to speak on X Spaces and to host them, and obviously people will be willing to listen. I think it'd be great if X could invest some resources into making the native experience here a little better. It'd be really nice if they could invest making it possible to speak from a laptop or desktop or iPad. Why we can't yet? Like literally years later, I have no idea. having to use my phone for this is kind of annoying, to be honest. And even just enhancing it and bringing it up to speed with others, like Discord has had noise canceling software from Crisp.ai integrated for years now. Google Meet finally introduced some built-in noise canceling a little while ago. So doing the same in X Spaces would be nice. Building in quizzes, making the poll experience easier to access as a listener, I think would be terrific. Um, I think this is one of the few things they've done over the last few years that's a really winning feature for X, and so I hope they invest in it and continue to make it more robust and more useful for people like us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I think, I want to think that it's gonna be audio NFTs. Can you imagine if Spaces could enable the creation and trading of audio NFTs, allowing users to own and monetize their unique audio content like podcasts, like
Yeah,
this podcast, for example, audio
I think that'd be really
snippets,
cool.
yeah, music as well, and maybe metaverse integration. Spaces could integrate with the metaverse, allowing users to participate in virtual audio events and experiences. Maybe AI powered features, I don't know, or decentralized audio streaming. Space could contribute to the development of decentralized audio streaming ecosystem as well. Why not? Offering users a more secure and transparent way to consume and share audio content. But I think that X Spaces has the potential to become a major force in Web3 ecosystem. It faces significant challenges as well. There are common pitfalls that founders should avoid. Um, I don't know. You do you have time, guys? Maybe to talk more about how, not only about the future, but I forget to ask you one really important questions, because there are some potential pitfalls on X spaces, and founders very shy sometimes to go in public. Maybe you can give some advice to them how to overcome some hurdles, how to avoid the pitfalls, potential pitfalls on X spaces as well.
Yeah. So first, go listen to some others. Go listen to how other people present themselves, how they try to, or whether or not they try to keep things dynamic, given that this is an audio only platform. And like I said earlier, you're competing for attention with hundreds of different options, not just other X spaces. So I think that's a really important thing to do. As I said before, pay attention to any prep available given to you, questions ahead of time, the other people you're going to be interacting with if you have a chance, and just kind of get yourself prepared for the questions that are going to come in. Like I said, you can have some ideas of what to say ahead of time, and just be prepared to interact with other people in hopefully a really natural way, and not in a scripted way at all. Um, those are, I think, some of the big things, and just know the topic. Don't if you're in finance, don't join a next space as a speaker on I don't know, woodworking, or vice versa. Play to your strengths. That's one thing you obviously do have the chance to do, and it's the smart thing to do. And you can branch out later if you feel comfortable.
Eric, what can you add to this?
Yeah, so it kind of goes hand in hand. So companies, that are large enough to have that big of a that large of a pressure on them to present, in a professional manner, more than likely the CEO or the CFO or the CMO or whoever is going to be more than happy to jump on a space and talk about their company because they've built something massive. They have experience, and they've been doing business related development things for a while now. So they're very, but for somebody that's learning and wanting to get into spaces, and that's a little nervous, or can't, or doesn't want to take the pressure and being put on the spot, the one thing that I would say is that no one is perfect the first time that you do something, and you just need to put yourself out there and just remember that you're only human and you make mistakes, And it just takes a little bit of time to build that part of you in terms of professionalism and understanding how to speak, because I'm not perfect. I'm not ever going to be perfect. I say the wrong things. I may not say the right things all the time, but I know that I'm only going to get better the more that I do it, and the more that I, give myself the experience and the opportunity to do it. So just keep that in mind whenever you're building yourself in spaces.
True, true. No one is perfect. And yeah, let me sum up some thoughts for our listeners about how to overcome the challenges. So, guys, preparation is a key. Know your audience, craft your story, practice your answers, prepare talking points, have your elevator pitch ready, send your bio and links to the host so host also can be prepared. Yeah, and during the interview, during the podcast, be authentic and enthusiastic. Let your personality shine through. Be passionate about your work and convey that enthusiasm in your voice. Engage with the host, of course. Use stories and examples. Illustrate your points with real life anecdotes or examples to make your message relatable and engaging. Speak clearly, concisely. It's actually a super advantage of any speaker to be concise. Avoid jargon and technical terms that listeners might not understand. Articulate your ideas in the way that is clear and easy to follow. And of course, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Yeah, sharing personal experiences or challenges can make you more relatable and humanize your stories, of course. And find a quiet space before going on a X space. Choose a quiet location for the interview to minimize background noise. Yeah, this is the main advice. Yeah, Eric, you had a hand. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I'd like to say something in regards to what you just said. Is creating an elevator pitch, having some organization of what you're going to say is good, but you don't want to sound scripted. Whenever you're talking, you want
Yep,
it to
yep.
you want it to come from the heart. You want it to come off as you're a human. I've been in spaces many times where you can hear people reading from the chat GBT prompt that or the script that it gives you or whatever. That's great, and I'm not saying that you're wrong for doing that, but for a more natural feel, and it's also a little bit of pressure that you have to rely on the script to provide the answer. Is I would steer more towards being natural and speaking from the heart, from your experience, opposed to creating like a script. I would create like a bullet point of values that you have from your company, or what you want to present, and then you just speak from the heart based off of those bullet points, whenever you are ready to speak.
100%.
Yep. It should be a balance. It should be a combination, synergy. I don't know. Uh, you can call it whatever. Of course, you have to be prepared, but you do not have to be sound like a robot. Because I was in one MA from Binance, and it was all scripted. It was a nightmare, and they charged like $900 for that. And I was like, "What the heck, guys? I'm a host with no audience at all, and you are trying to host these fake spaces. Jesus, this is not trustable at all." Yeah, but still, guys, it's time to wrap up this space. And it was a pleasure to have such long and insightful chat with you, to Eric and Derek. And I hope that everyone who's listening to us drop you a follow and support your endeavors in Web3. I liked your answers. I liked your thoughts a lot. So hopefully we can uh, jump on another episode of Liquidity Lounge somehow, sometime again. I will be pretty happy to host separate episodes for your podcast as well. I'm here today as a representative of Mids Capital market making company, and we are the most transparent in the place here, not pump and dumpers, just liquidity architects with the decent software. And yeah, Eric from Web3 Million Community, and Derek from Comcom Agency. If you have some final words, guys, you can express them, and I will wrap up the episode.
Thanks a lot. I think the best thing I can say is that this didn't feel like an hour. It went by really
Yeah.
quickly, and I enjoyed the chat.
Oh, what a pleasure, Polly. You're awesome. Well, I absolutely love you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, guys. It's so sweet honey to my ears. Thank you. Hopefully, one day I will meet you two on the conferences. 100% will be on Blockchain Live in Dubai in autumn and in Vietnam in June soon. So, yeah, let's meet in person and talk more. Let's maybe even do some video podcasts. But yeah, I'm looking too much forward. It's again my hyperactivity. But yeah, still, listeners, please engage with all the accounts who are speakers here presented on the panel, and don't forget to show some comments, show some questions if you still have. And thank you for engaging. It was a nice talk, and I liked the theme a lot. I like the speakers personally. Stay curious, stay engaged. Don't forget to learn more and do your own research of every topic. But yeah, hope that I will hear and see you again on the Liquidity Lounge at the next episode. Thank you, guys. Stay curious, and bye bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.